To those that are watching, this is From Pillar to Post, and this is my Smackdown live review. My name is Pete Wall, I am your host, and Smackdown Live, they took us back to Seattle, the home of Daniel Bryan, and the place where he had to retire as a professional wrestler. My thoughts on tonight, they're a little bit mixed. My reactions, I have some issues. We had a fatal four-way, and we had a 12-man tag team match. That's a little bit too much for one night. I enjoyed the very first match, the fatal four-way. The 12-man tag team was a waste of talent. They could have done something a lot better. You've got the tag team champions, the American Alpha, I believe they're called, and they're not being utilized as champions. From what I've seen from these guys, and from what you probably just noticed that I had to really think hard about their names, I'm not familiar with these guys. But from what I've seen of them, they are damn good wrestlers. And why they're being treated like this, I am told they took out the Wyatts, Randy Orton and Bray Wyatt, for the tag team titles, and they have really not been used ever since. My question is why? Why would they be put in a 12-man tag team match, and there's a 98% chance that on the Elimination Chamber they will be on the pre-show. Like, this tag team has a huge following. From what I've seen on Twitter, from what I've seen on YouTube, everybody is behind these guys. So why are they being underutilized? As for, I think, every tag team that's on this show right now. If you caught my video last night, the Raw review last night, you'll see that I'm not familiar with the current wrestlers as much as most of you are. I took a 5-year hiatus from watching wrestling. I've maybe watched 10 full episodes in those 5 years, and I've only been watching full time the last 2-3 weeks. This is my second review here on YouTube, and if you enjoy this video, please hit the subscribe button as well as the like, and post your comments below. Tell me what you think, and just remember, I am new. I don't have the experience of some of these guys on here, but I'm going to tell you that there's one guy that really had an impact on me to get started in this, and he is known as Falcon. You guys all know him as Rusty. And I want to tip my hat at the guy. He just came back to YouTube. So, thank you for getting me interested in doing this. He knows what I'm talking about. And, you know, I hope I can do justice. Now, like I said, we were in Seattle tonight. And we had the show open with Daniel Bryan coming down to the ring. And you know, the fans, they're happy to see this guy every time. And it's always good to see him. I wish he could still wrestle. I quit wrestling shortly after he made it really big. And it's just the wrestling business has really gone down since I watched. You know, I'm an old school guy. The gray hair might fool you. I'm not that old. I'm a 70s boy. So, you know, I am tipping the scales near 40, but I'm always a huge wrestling fan. I've been a huge wrestling fan since I was, you know, a couple of feet high. You know, watching with my dad. Watching him get all excited at the way that the older wrestlers could tell a story inside the ring as well as outside. You know, I don't see that these days. There is not many guys that can actually pull that off. But let's get into the show. And, you know, some of the stuff I might, you know, just really gloss over because it wasn't really that interesting. Like I said, Daniel Bryan comes out, you know, and he gets into talking a little bit, but gets interrupted by The Miz. And I love the interaction between these two. I've never been a huge Miz fan. I really don't think he could cut it as a real wrestler like a lot of these other guys do. He kind of just coasts through. He stays like, yes, he was the first, or he was the heavyweight champion a couple of times. I don't know how many. It's been a long time. But, you know, he's always just kind of floated around the Intercontinental title all the time. And now, from what I've seen from him tonight, mimicking and kind of mocking Daniel Bryan with using Daniel Bryan's moves. And, you know, there's so many better ways to antagonize someone. Using their moves, you know, that's basically giving them a tribute. You know, saying that, you know, you were that badass that I got to use your moves too now. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Like I said, the interaction between these two is just off the wall. I love it. We've got Daniel Bryan The Miz telling Daniel Bryan that, you know, he might as well just go home and be a stay-at-home dad because basically he can't wrestle anymore. So what's the use of him being there? Daniel Bryan turns the tables and said, well, it works for you. You can't wrestle, and it hasn't stopped you from stepping into the ropes. So, you know, just the way these two interact, it's just gold, and it just heightens the Miz's heel persona. It does make him look a little bit like a joke, too. But, you know, to me, the Miz has always been a kind of a joke. So, we end up having Baron Corbin come down. And then, eventually, we got Dean Ambrose. So, we got 4 guys in the ring. And, oh no, I forgot about AJ Styles. Sorry. AJ Styles come down. You know, they're all kind of bickering. And Daniel Bryan turns around and says, we're going to have a fatal 4-way tonight. And I just love that. You know, it's, I'm a big Baron Corbin fan. I see a lot of potential in this guy. He's got to work on his speaking skills, as I do. But like him, I'm new to talking to a camera. You know, that is the hardest thing for me right now. I used to do radio and podcasts, and I found that easy to do. I had people to bounce things off of. I had co-hosts. Now I've got a camera, and I've got to treat that like an audience. So I'm trying my hardest here. And Baron Corbin, you see that every time he's out there when he's on the mic. When he's in the ring, he's always working to improve himself, and he's getting better. And I'm hoping I get better as well. So we end up with a fatal 4-way match, and it's AJ Styles versus Baron Corbin versus The Miz versus Dean Ambrose. And if you see me looking to the side, it's because I'm reading my notes. We end up with, you know, a commercial, and I went over this last night, but people probably didn't watch my Raw review because there's a bad feedback in my mic, so it sounded like a really bad echo. I've fixed that problem, but I mentioned this. They are running their intro throughout the whole show. They do this on Raw. They do this on Smackdown. You see the Smackdown symbol come up, and they're playing their intro music over and over and over again. And most of the time, last week when I watched, they replayed that song, their intro music, 3 times in a row before we finally came back to wrestling. And for a guy that loves wrestling and grew up with the old school style of wrestling, that's what we want to see. Seeing, you know, your SmackDown title page and your intro music played through 3-4 minutes, that's time that was wasted that could be spent on these wrestlers. I digress. Well, we return, and Miz suggests teaming up with Corbin and against Styles and Ambrose. Corbin shakes his head. Ambrose fakes a punch on Miz, who runs for his life. You know, chicken shit guy. Corbin tosses Styles out and gets in a knee on Ambrose. Ambrose tosses Corbin over the top rope and catches Miz with a running clothesline. You know, these guys were just right into each other right from the get-go. You know, I don't know how many times I've seen someone get thrown out of the ring at the beginning of this match, and right through, there was one area through this match where they were doing schoolboy roll-ups on each other and taking turns between Dean Ambrose, AJ Styles, and The Miz. And I started to laugh a little bit. I thought they were a little bit overdoing it a little bit, but it was a good laugh. You know, it looked good. There's no hesitation between the moves. They knew what to do. They did it, and it came off clean. So I'm not going to bitch about it. You know, this match, it was competitive. You know, it's we seen the Tower of Doom. Basically, this is a guy on the top rope. You got two guys giving him a suplex, while the guy on the floor is giving the two holding up the top guy a power bomb. It looked good. You know, they all looked like they hurt. Corbin, he tried getting the pin first on, I believe it was Miz. Miz kicked out. He turned around and tried the same on AJ Styles. That didn't work. And, you know, it got right back into the action shortly after that. The Miz started using the Daniel Bryan-esque kicks and on AJ Styles as well as Dean Ambrose, while Baron Corbin was on the outside of the rope. You know, just taking turns, just tagging these guys right in the chest repeatedly. It was when he went for that finishing kick to the head, Dean Ambrose ducked it, and excuse me, I'm going to take a drink here. You know, and then we seen Styles with a Pele kick on Corbin shortly after. Like, everyone got in great moves on this. The fight broke out on the outside of the ring, inside. Everyone, you know, just put their heart into this match, and it made it interesting. What I like seeing at the very end, Baron Corbin hits the End of Days on AJ Styles, picks up the win. You know, this only helps Corbin with his confidence and, you know, his rise through the ranks. This guy's championship material. It's written all over him. You know, it's a huge win for him. The commentators put him over as a future champion. You know, everyone sees his talent. So, you know, I'm waiting for the day that they actually push him and give him the ball and let him run with it. And let's see what this guy can actually do. So, like I said, Baron Corbin wins, pinning AJ Styles. Match is over. Let's see. My notes are a little bit messed up here. Okay. Yeah, they had a commercial break. Backstage. Yeah, we come backstage. Luke Harper's in dark room. There's light bulbs hanging all over the place. He stops at this one, and it's just faintly glowing. And he gives it a little tap, and it starts to glow a little bit brighter. And he talks about Randy Orton stealing his family. And he calls Orton a liar and calls him a snake in the grass. And Harper says cutting the head off the Viper is too easy. He will eliminate Orton at the Elimination Chamber. I think this match is going to be just great. Randy Orton's always been a great worker. You know, Luke Harper, he's got that look. He's got that wild man's eyes. You know, just, I'm going to get you. And, you know, it's going to be a good match between these two. And I suspect Randy Orton's going to win. But they're going to put on a top-notch show. This is where I actually fell asleep through part of this interview. The Bella, or Nikki Bella and Natalya. I'm not really going to say much about this. Two women bickering, I'd rather see these two fighting backstage, throwing each other against transport trucks like we've seen in the last couple of weeks, out at the t-shirt sales or merchandise sales tables. I'd rather see that than these two bickering about, John Cena and who's going to end up with him in the end. It's just, I don't want to see it. So, we're going to go right into the next match, and it was Dolph Ziggler versus Apollo Crews. It's really good to see Apollo Crews. I've only seen him a few times. He hasn't really had much time on air from what I've heard, so, it's a good time to get to know him, if he's finally getting time now, and against a heel Ziggler, it was a pretty short match. Crews got the win. He avoided a super kick and rolled him up and got the pinfall. Or rolled Ziggler up and got the pinfall. It was a very short match. I think these guys could have used a little bit more time to display, some of Apollo Crews' moves and his talent. Dolph Ziggler, everyone knows him, so they know what he can do, and the guy is a show off, and he makes matches look good. But this is just another match to kind of bring Ziggler further into the darkness as the heel that he's turning into, and he goes to attack Apollo Crews, and with a steel chair. We had Kalisto come out. I guess that's the new Rey Mysterio of WWE. But he came out, and these guys, they've had their conflict. He went for the Salida del Sol. Ziggler dropped out and climbed out of the ropes and got his ass out of there in a hurry. But, Kalisto made the save. Like I said, really short match. It could have done with more time. What are you going to do? They had a 12-man tag. But, let's see, where are we at? I'm getting lost in my notes here. Later on, we had Daniel Bryan confront Ziggler in backstage. He asked Ziggler if he was going to throw a tantrum every time he loses, and books a match for Elimination Chamber. Makes it Ziggler versus Crews and Kalisto after Ziggler stated that he could beat both men at the same time. So there's another match made for the Elimination Chamber. And then this is where we would have had the Alexa Bliss, Mickie James, and the dual contract signing with, I'm trying to remember names here. I'm new to this. Becky Lynch and NAOMI. I remember Mickie James from back in the day when she was here in WWE. I really don't know if I can get over the way she's talking now. The hesitating, the hesitations while she's talking. I don't know if it's a robotic sound or, or like she's trying to portray a crazy bitch. I really don't know what she's doing, but I'm trying to get used to it. I'm trying to give her a chance. She is older. She is the veteran of the women's division these days. And she's going to have a lot to teach these younger women. I've seen a little bit of everyone here. I've seen NAOMI come down to the ring in her glowing stripper colors. Becky Lynch with the fiery orange hair, I've seen a little bit of everyone. I have to say, I like the way Becky Lynch handled herself on the mic. Same with Alexa Bliss. Like I said, I'm still kind of trying to get on with the whole Mickie James new style of talking. Naomi, she needs more mic work, and like I said before, as do I. But the interaction was pretty good. Everyone ended up signing their contracts, and it ended up with Naomi kicking Alexa Bliss upside the head and over the table to boot. You know, like, this chick is flexible. And it all ended up erupted into a brawl. Becky Lynch, Naomi, they threw Mickie James, Alexa Bliss out of the ring. Naomi catapults herself over the top rope, catches both Mickie James and Alexa Bliss. They throw them back in the ring. Mickie James and Alexa Bliss, they scoot out from under the bottom rope and hightail it up the ramp. You know, and there's your contract signing. We have 2 more matches for Elimination Chamber. Naomi versus Alexa Bliss for the women's championship, and the feud that's just recently started between Mickie James and Becky Lynch. And like I said, I am apologizing for fucking up the names. Like I said, I haven't really been watching all that much and all that long. So now we get into the 12-man tag team match. This was a clusterfuck. You know, it shouldn't have happened. I don't know a lot of these guys. I know the tag teams by listening to guys like Rusty and JD from New York 206. You know, Aiden English. I can't remember their tag team names. Oh, the Vaudevillains. I'm sorry. We had American Alpha, BREEZANGO, Slater and Rhino, the Vaudevillains, the Ascension, and the Usos. Now, I know the Usos, Slater and Rhino. I am familiar with the Ascension. I know all of them a little bit. There's some I know more than others. You know, when the Ascension came to WWE, when they started off in NXT, I really thought, and I've always had this thing with the freaks of wrestling, and by freaks I mean the painted up warriors. You know, you got the Ultimate Warrior, the Legion of Doom, Road Warriors, Demolition, Powers of Pain. You know, these guys were the freaks, and I loved them. You know, they were different. They were not. They didn't all look the same. You know, I love that about them. You know, and they had more intensity when they came down the ring. Look at the Ultimate Warrior, what he did when he came to the ring. He was full speed right down to the ring, shaking the ropes. The Road Warriors, they start off every match almost always the same. You know, they take off their studded football pads and attack their opponents from behind, like 95% of the time. You know, and they were all powerhouses. So when I seen the Ascension for the first time, I really thought, finally, they're bringing another team like that back, you know, trying to recreate that feeling that Legion of Doom had, or, you know, the other ones I listed. And these guys are underutilized. They are left off the card most of the time, and when they are used, they're used for this bullshit. BREEZANGO. I am a little bit familiar with Tyler Breeze. Fandango, you know, I could care fucking less. I did like to see that the Ascension actually won this match, and, you know, for a review, this is going to be my thing for this match. It was complete bullshit. You know, it was the Vaudevillains, the Ascension, and the Usos that won, because it was a 12-man tag. But the Ascension picked up the win. I did like seeing that. You know, and as on Monday Night Raw, we've seen that the Rock and Roll Express, they're being inducted into the Hall of Fame. You know, these guys paved the way for a lot of the younger talent from back then. I remember them from when my dad used to watch wrestling before he passed. And, you know, these guys paved the way for guys like the Rockers and so many other ones that kind of followed the same gimmick. And, you know, it's good to see they're getting their due, you know. You know, what are you going to say? You know, they're joining the likes of Kurt Angle. So we get to the main event of the night. It's John Cena versus Randy Orton. A really good match. A little bit on the slow side. Predictable. I've seen these guys fight many times in the past. And it was a typical match of Randy Orton versus John Cena. You know, they know each other well. They played that off. You know, these guys went for multiple finishers and escaped, reversed. You know, I think the coolest spot I seen on in this match was Randy Orton delivering a DDT with John Cena's ankles draped over the top turnbuckles. I loved it. It looked like it legit hurt. You know, and we had this match breakdown. John Cena went for his AA, attitude adjustment. You know, I still want to call it the FU. He came up with that move back when Brock Lesnar was younger. Both of them were younger, and it was to combat the F5. So he called it the FU, just to kind of spit on Brock Lesnar. And now, you know, the PG era is here, and it's the attitude adjustment. Fuck you. Anyway, back to what I was saying. You know, this match broke down. John Cena had Randy Orton up on his shoulders, ready to deliver his AA. Orton's holding on to the top ropes, making sure, you know, he can hold off. And, you know, a testament to John Cena's strength. He's got this guy on his shoulders. The guy's holding as tight as hell under the top rope. And he is physically just pulling repeatedly against the ropes to break Randy Orton's hold. When he finally does, Orton's feet knock the ref out of the ring and out cold. And that's when Bray Wyatt gets involved. And they go to town on John Cena. They beat the hell out of him. And, you know, just when we think, you know, it's going to be John Cena's downfall, I didn't think they'd make John Cena lose on Smackdown. But Luke Harper comes out and saves John Cena. Excuse me. Luke Harper and Bray Wyatt, they have the stare down in the middle of the ring. And Bray is telling him to get out. You know, listen to him, basically. It was his former follower, his child. And it looks like Luke Harper's going to leave. And he turns around and he hits Bray Wyatt with a discus clothesline. And it looks just as vicious as JBL's clothesline from hell. You know, it was just a knockout hit. Just flattened Bray Wyatt down. You know, Orton comes in. I'm getting a little bit ahead of myself here. Just a second. Okay, Wyatt attempts to Sister Abigail on John Cena. Cena escapes and hits a clothesline on Orton. Wyatt grabs Cena and hits Sister Abigail. Yeah. Okay, yes. Okay, Luke Harper runs down after this. And Wyatt turns around and smiles at him. And you can see in Harper's eyes, he's not happy. And this is when they have the stare down. Harper levels Wyatt with the clothesline, like I said. You know, just a devastating discus clothesline. And, you know, kicks him out of the ring. Orton is back and goes for an RKO on Harper. Harper pushes Orton into Cena, and Cena hits the double A and wins the match. Yeah, so I got kind of, you know, mixed up there when I was talking. So, John Cena wins. We all knew he wouldn't lose. I figured he would go out as a DQ, seeing as Randy Orton's the Royal Rumble winner, and he's got the champion at WrestleMania. And so I figured the most they do is either count out or disqualification of some sort. It didn't happen. They gave John Cena the win, but then everyone expects that John Cena is going to lose the title at Elimination Chamber, and I believe so as well, because everyone knows John Cena is leaving right after WrestleMania to get into another movie. So, everyone suspects it's going to be Bray Wyatt winning the Elimination Chamber. And I believe so too, because it's going to be a really good match. Everyone knows Randy Orton wants to push and kind of pass the torch on to Bray Wyatt, make him the superstar he should have been all these years. So, going to the Elimination Chamber, this match furthered some growth towards that, but nothing for the tag team division. The show did nothing for the tag team division. I've heard JD and Rusty repeatedly say, what division? There is no division anymore. Smackdown women, they you see them fight, is night and day from Raw. But the tag team division on both shows, they are lacking. You've got 3 hours of Raw. I'm pretty sure you guys could take all of the tag team division, put them on that show, get rid of all the bullshit that you are doing on Raw, and actually give these guys a platform. And the cruiserweights on Monday, I don't give a shit. They're being so underutilized. They've got their own show, 205. Let them make something of themselves there. Bring the tag teams over to Raw and fill up some of that space and free time that they are using to fuck around. Like last night, we had so much Jericho and Owens, it was ridiculous. Tonight we had the 12-man tag and Natalya and Nikki Bella bickering. There's so much more you can do. I know they are trying to fuel the rivalry between Nikki Bella and Natalya, but it was fueling it more, letting these women fight in the locker room and backstage and outside. They don't need to talk. Really, it sounds mean to say don't let these women talk, but if you're letting these women talk, it ends up being about cats and about John Cena and about babies. This is fucking wrestling. This is not, Housewives of Seattle. We don't want to see that shit. So, like I said, that was our show. If you enjoyed the show, or if you feel like giving me a chance, like I said, I'm going to improve. This is my second show here on YouTube. I'm going to try my hardest to give you as good as I got, and I promise I will get better as I go. So hit that like, hit that subscribe, and I will see you next week, and we'll see. Maybe I improve during the week. Who knows? Good night, and thank you.